Hey guys, our learning target for today is I can compare decimal numbers. So at the top you'll see the place value chart. We have our hundreds, tens, and ones, which represent our whole numbers. And then we have our decimal. And then we go into our tenths and hundredths. So I want you to think back, which one is larger? Is a tenth larger or is a hundredth larger? Well, remember that a tenth is like a stick in our area model, and then the hundredth is the little bitty box in our area model. So which one would be greater? A tenth is much bigger than a hundredth. So I want you to remember that today whenever we go to compare. So just like normal comparing, we're going to start with the greatest place value and move our way down. So here we have 0.24. Well, if I plug that in, 0.24, that means that I have 24 what? Hundredths. So I want to show that on here. I have 2 tenths, so I would shade in 2 tenths. And then how can I represent 4 hundredths? Well, I know that I would have to break this next tenth into 10. And then I can shade in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I have 24 hundredths. Over here, I want to show what? What is 0.3? Well, if I say 0.3, that would be 3 tenths. So I would shade in 1 tenth, 2 tenths, and 3 tenths. So let's compare. Which one has more shaded? Well, I can see that 3 tenths has more shaded, and that makes sense because when we look and we write out our place value, tenths, hundredths, tenths, and then we would have 0 hundredths. 0 would represent our ones. Okay, so remember you start with your larger place value. We have 0 wholes for both. We have 2 tenths compared to 3 tenths. Well, which is bigger, 2 or 3? Well, we know that 3 is bigger, so 3 tenths would be greater than 24 hundredths. So let's look at B. Now we have 0.5, and if we write this out, we know that the 5 is in the tenths place. So we have 5 tenths. So I need to shade in 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, and 5 tenths. Over here, we have 3 in the tenths and 8 in the hundredths. So we have 38 hundredths. So I can shade in 3 tenths, 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, and then remember I can break this tenth into 10 to make hundredths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I would shade in how many? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when we look at our models, which one has more shaded? Well, I can see that 5/10 has more shaded, and that makes sense. Again, we have 0 ones in both. Then we have 5/10 and 3/10. Well, which is greater, 5 or 3? 5 is greater, so our alligator would eat the greater number. All right, let's look at C. Here we have our ones, our tenths, and our hundredths. So we have 4 hundredths. Now guys, you can also break apart your area model altogether into hundredths. So we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have my hundredths here, because remember 10 times 10 is equal to 100. So I need to shade in 4 hundredths. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Over here, I have ones and tenths. Well, my area model is already broken into tenths, so I need to shade in how many tenths? 4. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10. So whenever you look, which model has the greater amount shaded? Well, I can see that 4/10 has more shaded, so the alligator would eat 0.4. It makes sense too, because if we start with our larger place value, we have 0 ones on both sides. We have 0/10, but then over here we have 4/10. Well, which is greater, 0/10 or 4/10? 4/10 is greater. And lastly, D. So here we have 60 hundredths because it's ending in the hundredths place. So we have 60 hundredths. So again, you can split your area model into hundredths. Remember, if we're in tenths, how much do we need to get to 100? 10 times 10. So I'm going to draw 10 more lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I want to shade in how many? 60 hundredths. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So I have 60 hundredths shaded in. Over here, I have 6 what? Tenths. So I'm already broken into tenths. So all I have to do is shade in 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So whenever you look at your models, which one has the greater amount shaded? Well, you'll notice that they're both the same, and that makes complete sense. If you look, we have 0 ones, we have 6/10 and 6/10, we have 0 hundredths, and over here we would also have 0 hundredths. Remember that if we have 6/10 and 60 hundredths, how do we get from 6 to 60? We would multiply times 10. What you do to the top, you also do to the bottom. Is 10 times 10 going to give you 100? Yes. So that makes these equal. So 60 hundredths is equal to 6 tenths. You can also show that on a number line. So here we have 2 and 4 hundredths compared to 2 and 4 tenths. So when we look here, we need 2 wholes. So here's my 2 wholes. But we have 0 tenths. If we have 0 tenths, our next one goes to 2.1, which is 1 tenth. So that means 2.04 is going to fall somewhere in here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 hundredths. So 2.04 would be about here. This would be 2.01, 2.02, 2.03, 2.04, 2.05, 2.06, 2.07, 2.08, 2.09, and then we would have 2.1 or 2.10. So we would plot 2.04 right here. Now we want to find 2.4. So that's 2 wholes and 4 tenths. So this is 2 wholes and 1 tenth, 2 wholes and 2 tenths, 2 wholes and 3 tenths, 2 wholes and 4 tenths. So here's our 2.4, which is all the way over here. So let's compare. Which one is greater? Our plot that's over here to the left, or 2.4, which is all the way over here? It would be 2.4. Again, if you look at your place value, we have 2 wholes and 2 wholes. We have 0 tenths and 4 tenths. So we have to compare. Which is greater, 0 tenths or 4 tenths? I know that 4 tenths is greater than 0, so the alligator would eat 2.4. All right, let's look at our last number line. Now we have 10 wholes and 45 hundredths. So that's 10 and 45 hundredths because the 5 is ending in the hundredths place. So I need 10 wholes and how many tenths? 4. Well, here's 10 wholes and here's 4 tenths. So I know that I'm going to be between 10.4 and 10.5. Well, I need 5 hundredths. So this would be 10.41, 10.42, 10.43, 10.44, 10.45, 10.46, 10.47, 10.48, 10.49, and then we would have 10.5 or 10.50. So now we can plot 10 and 45 hundredths because it's right here. Now I want to plot 10 wholes and 5 tenths. Well, here's 10 wholes and 5 tenths, so we're going to plot our next one here. Well, which one is further down the number line? We can see that 10 and 5 tenths is further down, so the alligator would eat this decimal. Again, compare your place values. I have 110, 110. I have 0 ones, 0 ones. I have 4 tenths and 5 tenths. So I'm comparing the 4 and the 5. Well, which is greater? 5. So the alligator would eat 10 and 5 tenths. All right, guys, there's going to be a few that I want you to try on your own.